Welcome to lesson 2.6. I goofed on the title again. We're going to be working on GCF and then going into common factoring. So for prime factoring, you did this back in grade 7, grade 8. We look for the numbers that multiply together to get 6. I always did it with upside down staircase or successive division. Start with 6 divided by the smallest prime, so 2 goes into it, gives a 3. Another prime, 3 can go into 3, and we'd be left with 1. We go till we hit 1. And then the prime factors would be 2 times 3 for 6. If we're looking at the prime factors of 12, 2 is smallest. It goes in, we get a 6. 2 goes into 6, we get 3. 3 is the next prime, goes in and gets 1. Here would be the prime factors of 12. 2 times 2 times 3. And for 18, I'm going to do it up top. 18, 2, I get a 9. 3 goes into 9, a 3, another 3, and then we get left with 1. So the prime factors would be 2 times 3 times 3. And to use prime factoring to find the greatest common factor, we look and see which shows, even though it says greatest, we're going to be looking for the smallest number that we could safely see. So for 2 as a factor, it shows up once here. And yep, one set of 2's is common to all of them. And then also one set of 3's. So the greatest common factor, the GCF, would be 2 times 3, which is 6. And the lowest common multiple, if we're doing it with prime factoring, I'm going to use blue instead. Here we look for which one out of all the numbers, we see where does it show up the most. So 2 shows up twice under 12, and 3 shows up twice under 18. So for the LCM, it would be 2 times 2 times 3 times 3, which is 4 times 9, which is 36. So question 1 says, find the GCF and LCM of the following sets using prime factoring. We're not. We're going to use something that's officially called successive division, aka upside down staircase. Because I personally, you can always do the other way, but I find this a quick way to find the GCF and LCM. So here's what successive division looks like. We write our numbers, we draw an upside down stair, and then I look, what can divide into both of them? So I see a 2, so 12 and 45. And now I look, common to both of those is a 3. I'd be left with a 4 and a 15. There's nothing in common between 4 and 15. So my GCF is the 2 numbers down the side. Those were the things that were in common. And then the LCM, it makes this L shape. It's not only what was in common, but then what was left over as factors. So the LCM is going to equal 2 times 3 times 4 times 15. And 2 times 3 times 4 times 15 is, I'm using a calculator, 360. So the LCM of this one is 360. Try it again with 120 and 234. So 120, 234. They're both even, so I can take a 2 out of both of them. And then I noticed that they're both divisible by 3. If you have trouble remembering your divisibility rules, let me know and I can give you some extra practice. 117 divided by 3 is 39. The only factors of 39 are going to be 3 and 13, and those aren't common to 20, so we are done. And the GCF is the numbers that were common to both, so that's going to be 6. And the LCM, we're going to make an L and use those common factors as well as what was left over. So 2 times 3 times 20 times 39. So 2 times 3 times 20 times 39. That gives 4680. The third one, we have 3 of them, but that's okay. So my first number that I see is a 5. 5 can go into 75 15, into 60 12 times, and into 45 9 times. Those are all then divisible by 3, and we're left with 5 and 4 and 3. That's it. Nothing else is common. So the GCF is going to be 5 times 3, which is 15. And then the LCM, I'm making that L shape, taking everything that was common as well as what was left over. So the LCM is 5 times 3 times 5 times 4 times 3, which is 5 times 3 times 5 times 4 times 3, 900. So that's it for finding the GCF and LCM. If we're finding the GCF or LCM of a term that has variables inside it, we're going to split it up into the number part, the coefficient, so the number, that's the coefficient. For the number or coefficient part, we're just going to use successive division to find the GCF. And then for the letter, aka the variable, we're going to look and see what is the largest for each letter. So we go one letter at a time. Go one letter at a time. And what we're going to be able to take as a common factor is going to be the smallest quantity of that letter out of all the terms. And sometimes that's going to be 0. A letter might not show up, so then it's not going to be part of the GCF. So in this example here, we've got 9 and 12 and 18. So if I have 9 and 12 and 18, I can take a 3 out, and that's going to be it. So my GCF, the number part, is going to be a 3. And then when I look at the letters, I'm going to rewrite them. A squared, B squared, A, B squared, C cubed, A, B squared, C. I'm going to do it a letter at a time. So when I look at the A's, A squared, A, and A. The smallest quantity that shows up is just one A in the second and third terms. So we're just going to use one A to the power of 1. Then if I look at the B's, I've got B squared, B squared, B squared. So B squared happens to be common to all of them. I can take that out. Then if I look at C's, well, there is no C in the first one. So the smallest that shows up is it doesn't show up at all. So I can't include C in my GCF. So I've got the number 3 from before. And I've got AB squared as well. So my GCF is going to be 3AB squared. LCM, due to the pandemic, we are not working on that. So finding the GCF, we're going to follow those rules. I'm going to do it by looking at inspection. See if I can get the GCF just by looking. 12 and 18 and 6. I can see that the biggest number I can take out of all of them is going to be a 6. And then I look at the letters A. So I can definitely take out an A. And I'm looking at the B's. B. There's no B. So the smallest is going to be nothing. So I can't take out a B. And then if I look at the C, but the middle term didn't have any C, so I can't take it out either. So the GCF is just going to be 6A. For number 2, I'm going to scribble out the 2 so it doesn't confuse me. I'm going to, because I can't see it right away, I'm going to find out what the GCF is. So 2 goes into 56 28 times, 32 times, 18 times. I can take out another 2, 14, 16, 9. Looks like that's it. So my GCF, the number part, is going to be 2 times 2. So it's going to be a 4. And then I'm going to look at the letters. So I got A, 1A, then I've got 2 A's and 1A. So the smallest number of A's is 1. And then I've got a b and a b and a b squared. So I can definitely take out 1b, factor out 1b. And then I've got a c, but it only shows up once, so I'm out of luck. I can't include c as a common factor. Practice a couple more. So, looking at question 3, I'm going to scroll that out. I've got a 2, a 4, and a 2. So my GCF, the biggest number or coefficient I could take out is a 2. Now I look at my x's. 3 x's here, 2 x's here. I'm just going to show you what I mean by 3 x's. Because x cubed is really x times x times x. X squared is really x times x. And another x times x. So when I say I could take 2 x's out, it's because x squared really is 2 x's. When I look at y's, I've got a 1y, 4 y's, and 4 y's. So the smallest number of y's I could take out is just 1. Question 4. The number, or the coefficient, that I could divide out is going to be a 5. And I've got 4 s's, 5 s's, 3 s's. So the smallest number of s's is 3, so it's s cubed. And then T5, T4, T4. So the smallest number of t's will be T4. Common factoring is where we use the GCF, and we're going to follow some steps. So step 1 is find the GCF of all the terms. Number 2, you're going to write out GCF and then open a bracket. And then either on paper or in your head, you're going to divide all the terms by the GCF, and you're going to write that answer in the brackets, and then you're going to close the bracket. So that might sound confusing, but we'll go through it step by step. Question 5. Question 5 says factor 5x squared plus 10x. So the first step is to figure out what the GCF is going to be. So the GCF, if I look at the numbers 5 and 10, I can divide them both by 5. And if I look up the smallest number of times, I've got x squared and an x. So the smallest number of x's I can do is 5x. So the first step is I'm going to write an equals 5x, and I'm going to open the bracket. Inside the bracket, I'm going to write the answers of what I get when I divide each term by 5x. So for that first term, 5x squared divided by 5x, I'm going to be left with just an x, 1x. And then plus 10x divided by 5x, I'm going to be left with a 2. So I've done the dividing. And now I have factored it. And if you notice something, right here, if we were to distribute, we would get 5x squared plus 10x. Just a way to check to make sure that we got it okay. So I need you up at the top or somewhere to write down a star and say factoring is the same or is equals undistributing. It's like we were undoing distributing. Okay, we're going to follow the steps again for question 6. In question 6, the GCF, 4 and 6 first, I can take out a 2. I've got 2 x's, 1x, so 1x over all. Y squared, I can take out a y squared. No z, z squared, so I can't take out any z. So when I factor this, I write 2xy squared, open my bracket. Then I'm going to go and divide everything by 2xy squared. And whatever gets left over, I'm going to write it inside the brackets. So for that first term, if we're looking at this, for the first term, 4 divided by 2 is 2. X squared divided by x is x. Y squared by y squared goes away. Minus 6 divided by 2 is 3. X by x goes away. Y squareds go away. And we're left with z squared. And that would be question 6 factored. Question 7. First we got to find that GCF. So the GCF equals, if we look at 15 and minus 9, biggest number I could take out to be 3. A's in the first, none in the second, can't take out A's. 5 B's in the first, 4 B's in the second, so I could take out 4 B's. No C's in the first, so I can't take out any C's. So my answer starts with 3b to the 4, and I open the bracket. Divide both of the terms by 3b to the 4, and you might be able to do this in your head. And I'm left with 5a squared b minus 3c to the 5. Question 8. GCF 12, 6, and 24. The biggest number I can take out is 6. And then the largest number of x's is just 1. So I'm going to take out 6x, open my bracket. And you're going to get to a point where you can just divide those numbers by 6x in your head. So 12x cubed divided by 6x is going to be 2x squared minus x plus 4. And that's that answer. Last question. So first find the GCF. The GCF is 8, 16, 24. They all can be divided by 8. Then they all have one A. The last one doesn't have a B, so that's it. That's my GCF. So if I take out 8A, let's see what's left behind after I divide everything by 8A. The first term, right here, the 8's go away, and I'm left with AB plus. Second term, I'm left with 2. The A's go away, so just a B. And then for the third one, minus 3, and then the A's go away, and that's it. And that's it for lesson 2.6, and that's it for unit 2. Thanks for watching.